Hey everybody, Steven here.
Hey guys, I'm Allan.
And welcome to another episode of Paint Talk with That One Painter. Today we are talking about urethane based paints. These are relatively, actually very new.
Who's the thing?
What?
Urethane?
Urethane.
Sorry.
Nice. So urethane is a new product on the market. Benjamin Moore, I think, is selling Cabinet Coat. They got a urethane product there. You still laughing at your own self?
I thought it was pretty good.
It was. I think you didn't warn me that you had a joke coming.
I had to throw it
We
at
should
you,
start
man.
practicing these. No, we shouldn't. So we've got emeralds, urethane from SherwinWilliams. Kelly Moore here. We've been using some of their products as well, and they've got a acrylic urethane product. So basically, urethane-based products are a new alternative sort of paint compared to your traditional waterborne enamel, acrylic enamels, and your very traditional oil-based enamels.
Yeah.
Now we've got basically acrylic water-based hybrid with urethane. Mm-hmm. So you kind of think polyurethane mixed with, waterborne enamel. They kind of married those two, and now we have these acrylic urethane products, which are phenomenal.
We love them.
We love them. We use them a lot on cabinetry, but also trim and doors.
Yep.
This one, and I think this one also, both can also stick to metal. So you don't even have to use a DTM paint. These are also direct to metal paints. So really, really good products. What are some of the features that you like the most?
Both of these are really good options. We really like urethanes for the fact that one, they're just extremely durable. They spray out really nice. They self-level. They come out really smooth, which is really important for especially trim doors, cabinets, these like board and batten walls, or like anything that needs to be really smooth. They come out really, really nice. They spray really well. And we just really liked it. Truthfully, too, they just stick. As long as you prep properly, yeah, the adhesion's great. So you don't have to ever have that like little thing in the back of your mind of, hey, is it gonna stick? Is it gonna adhere? Because as long as you do your prep right, which that's something we'll talk about, but that's the only thing we found with these urethanes is really assuming you do the prep properly, you'll never. They really are tried and true. They're usually not very finicky. They don't do any weird spatter or weird stuff as you're spraying it. They're very consistent. It's just about having the right tips and things like that. But once you have it set up properly, these urethanes are pretty killer. We like them a lot.
Yeah. So they're water urethane hybrid, so they're not oil, so the smell is not as bad as oil based. I will tell you, the smell's a little bit worse than a regular water-based paint.
It has a slight odor worse than a wall paint, but it's not a vapor type odor like the oil.
It definitely is nowhere near the. It's not going to give you a headache and stuff like the oil based will. I feel like it's a little bit of a stronger smell than your traditional water based paint.
It has a funkier smell.
But it's still compared to oil again, which is what we're comparing it to. It's phenomenal. The smell is not as bad. The VOCs are way lower, and you're going to get the same smoothness like Alan talked about. You're going to get the same durability over time, and as a bonus, it won't yellow over time like the yellow base.
That's a big important factor. Yeah.
And then one of the things here that we say with some caution is that you can technically put these over oil-based paints.
Yes.
Even though they're a water urethane hybrid, these can be put over oil-based paints. However, I say that with a warning that you have to sand really well and meticulously and thoroughly. But if you do, I recommend like a 180 grit sandpaper.
Yeah.
And you're not taking off the oil-based paint. You're just doling it down. But you got to do that thoroughly without missed spots. If you really do that, and you spray this on or brush this on afterward,
it goes on really well.
It sticks, and you need to give it about 3 days to cure. But then you can't scratch it off.
Yeah, so if you're redoing cabinets or doors and trim and you're not really sure if it's oil or water based, or you just want to use the best potential product, the urethane is the way to go. And like I said, yeah, the prep. So as long as you do sand it down, and when we make sanding, like a lot of people are like, do you need to sand it all the way down to the wood? No, it's you're sanding it to make it abrasive.
Mm-hmm.
These urethanes work really well.
You're dulling down that gloss,
exactly,
giving it a little bit of abrasion. Yes.
If it's too smooth, it doesn't like to stick very well, and so you just got to scuff it up, make it nice and gritty again, so that when you go to apply this product, it sticks really well.
Yeah, it sticks awesome. Like I said, there's a lot of benefits to this. They're also interior exterior, so they're waterproof, and they hold
good option for like front doors,
things
like that.
Railings outside. I wouldn't use this on an entire exterior by any means. It's not designed for that, but for like certain accents, absolutely. Certain little parts of the house, maybe doors or like we said, railings or something, it works great. Another thing that we get asked about is the other hybrids, which are the oil alkyd hybrid. That's so it's basically an acrylic alkyd, I think. Hybrid. So it's like an oil water hybrid, and those have been around a little longer, and we don't use them. They are popular. There are a lot of professional painters out there who like them
a lot.
And I'm not gonna say they shouldn't be using them. I just personally never really liked them for a couple of reasons. One, I found that they sagged and ran, so that when you sprayed it on, it tended to run a bit more. And then additionally, with the water sheens. Oil, exactly. The sheens on those older hybrids with the oil water were way duller. So the semi-gloss looked like a satin, the gloss looked like a semi-gloss. They just tended to be duller, and they felt a little more chalky, which isn't what I think of when I'm thinking trim paint, when I'm thinking cabinet paint. I don't want it to feel chalky at all. I want it to feel smooth, almost like glass-like. And you get that with the urethane as close as you could possibly get to an oil base without being oil based. So you're going to get a finish that feels more like oil with a durability of oil without the yellowing or the smell of oil, which is awesome. And you get the great adhesion. These are probably some of the most scuff resistant, some of the most cleanable products on the market.
Yeah, like when it comes like doing kitchen cabinets especially, I pretty much won't do kitchen. I mean, we'll use whatever paint the customer wants, but I would never recommend doing cabinets without doing them in a urethane. The reason for that is, in my opinion, especially if you have kids or you like to cook a lot in your home, the kitchen cabinet doors are probably the most
beat up part of
your home. I mean, they're the things that are going to get open and closed on a daily basis. Your pantry door,
all the time.
I mean, they take a lot of abuse.
That pan hitting the door on the way out. These are the most durable.
You need the most durable, hard.
Other than a traditional oil is also super durable.
A traditional oil, yes, is also
these aren't
really
going to yellow, and these smell. The smell on these is not
absolutely
nearly as bad. So this is really the best option.
It really is. Yeah, and considering they're only like what 10%, 15% more than an oil-based enamel, a good oil.
Yeah,
a good oil-based enamel.
They're not much more expensive.
They're not much more expensive. So just the odor, not having to deal with that alone, because with the oil-based enamel, we've had some customers that were really nervous about redoing their cabinets because the previous time they did them, it was just a horrible, like they had to deal with the smell for like 3 days. They couldn't even stay in the home. They ended up having to leave. And that's one nice thing about these urethanes is I'm able to do cabinets all the time with customers still being in the home, and they're able to not have to worry about the vapors and the smells and all that. Because some of those oil bases, it can take 3, 4, 5 days
out with the windows open and everything.
It can take a while.
Be there for 3 days. It's pretty strong. We really like these paints. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should say about them.
They're great. Get your cabinets painted with them. That's what you should do. Trimming doors.
I would add one more thing. When we've been spraying these out, we've found that you do have to use the right tips. I recommend a fine finish tip.
Yes.
For the actual painters listening to this or watching this.
Right.
For the rest of you probably don't care, but you got to use a fine finish tip or like a 311. Something that's not going to put on too heavy of a coat. These are not designed to put on really thick mills of paint. It's designed for a lot of times 2 coats, and you got to be careful with how heavy you put it on. You actually want to build it with 2 coats rather than trying to loaded up with one necessarily. So that's one thing in usage.
They also don't brush and roller very well.
They do. You just not for an amateur.
No, I mean if you prep right, they do, but they do spray out nicer than they brush and roll. So if you're gonna brush and roll, just be aware that you definitely need to prep very, very, very well.
Yeah, and what I think Alan also means too with that is these dry really, really fast. So if you're brushing and you're not like a really skilled painter and you're coming back to spots you already brushed, it's gonna like gum up almost.
It'll gum up.
Or it's gonna flash because it's already dried in that spot. Like this one I think dries in 30 minutes, and that means it probably tacks up in about 10. So a really good painter can brush these things out and probably not have any issues.
You can do it.
But you have to be fast. If you're slow at brushing, I don't recommend brushing these. You'd be a little bit better off with a roller, but probably has some of the same issues with those little mini rollers, because a lot of times people come back just like they do with brushing, and if it's tacked up, now you've got a weird flashing that happens when you dry. But when it dries, you're going to see two tones of the gloss. It's going to look shinier and less and more dull because you went back over it. When it was already tacked up. So what you want to do is, if you are brushing it, brush it fast. and if you do that, I mean I've brushed this one out quite a bit, and I was pretty happy with it. But again, that's coming from an experienced painter who can brush out trim and doors really fast. If for an amateur, this is gonna be a really hard product to work with a brush. But if you're hiring professionals to do your cabinets or your trim and doors, this stuff is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening to our episode of Paint Talk. Stick around and watch some more.
Thanks, guys.